Welcome to Wrestling Over Everything, everybody. We are a very funny wrestling podcast out of the Central Valley of California. I'm Andrew, that's Dusty.
Hey.
Subscribe to our YouTube. Thank you. And follow us on your favorite podcast app. Helps us a lot. Tell your friends. You got wrestling nerd friends with dandruff and greasy gaming chairs, right? Tell them about our podcast.
I don't have a gaming chair. I have greasy regular chairs.
Yeah, I've got a gaming chair. I bought it for work from home, but I do use it for gaming.
You
Pretty
do,
cool.
in fact, use it for gaming.
I'm a
Dual
pirate.
purposes, yeah. How you doing, Andrew?
I'm doing all right. Can't stop eating. Moving a little slow, but you know what? I'm ready to talk about some stinking Diamond Dallas Page versus Randy Savage. I'm going to tell you that. Just the fumbling of the bag by, and this is just the theme of today is WWE got their hands on Diamond Dallas Page and they turned him into a stalker, Dusty.
Yeah, I don't want to get out too far in front of it. We do a 3-minute podcast. I love this angle, and I have some criticism about this angle, but I love it. And in spite of that, I think this is like the perfect template for how you make a star. And then, like you said, WWF, they get a hold of Diamond Dallas Page. They certainly don't do this with him.
I don't even get it. Like, he's big.
Yeah.
I understand why. Well, I don't agree, but I understand why Vince was like, "Oh, I could beat up Eddie Guerrero." But like, Diamond Dallas Page is what, like 6'4", 6'5"?
I bet you that Vince McMahon never saw a Diamond Dallas Page match in WCW. Yeah, I think Page is like 6'3".
That son of a bitch. It's the worst thing he ever did. 6'6", by the way. 6'6".
Who, Page?
That's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing 6'6".
Wow.
He looks fucking huge. Well, I'm also seeing 6'5". In wrestling, that probably means he's 5'11". But
right,
every time he gets in the ring, he's like much taller than everybody else that's around him. So like,
he's a big guy.
Yeah.
And I mean, we could talk about his career post this angle, but it's a fascinating thing about the invasion. Like it'll always be in the back of my head. Man, what they did. They got maybe the biggest star in WCW at that time, the biggest star they could get, and they just immediately facing the doo-doo for old Diamond Dallas Page.
It's fucking wild. But like, this is, and we're gonna get, let's get right into it. I do think, like, I love trashing 90s WCW. Like, shout out to WCW Breakdown on Twitter. I'm sorry, dude. Facing the doo-doo. But this is some of the best of it, I think. Like, this is one of the better angles I've seen from them from this era. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, this is 97. This is when they're the hottest, maybe 98. This is arguably the hottest they ever were, and they legitimately made a star, and it was interesting and compelling, and they did a lot of little things correctly, like, and I'm all for bashing an Eric Bischoff. WCW is the king of fumbling the bag at the 1 yard line, but I really think that they like, for whatever reason, this turned out excellent.
Well, we got to remember, Dusty Rhodes is in the building right now. And is he involved in creative at all at this time?
I believe he is, but I think this is Kevin Sullivan. There's like you can't. You
got the Taskmaster.
Yeah, you can't really dial in. Like, it's not as easy as whenever you go, oh, it was Vince and Pat Patterson.
Yeah,
because in WCW it was always a committee of people, But I know that Dusty Rhodes was a huge backer of Page. This has a lot to do with Macho Man. Eric Bischoff is in the mix. Kevin Sullivan's in the mix. Like,
Macho Man, dude. Macho Man, we've talked about this before. He just moves so weird. Everything he does looks weird. Even when he puts his arms out and does the circle thing, like
Yeah.
nobody could match. If we did like a silhouette competition, like people can do the Randy Orton throwing the hands in the air. People can
Yeah.
do like nobody moves like Randy Savage. Like you can't. If there's a Randy Savage sized hole cut into a wall and you're flying towards that wall, you're not getting through that wall because you're not making whatever pose that he's making.
Right. He's the only guy who could do that. So, yeah, we could jump right in. I want to give a little bit of backstory for each guy. So Macho Man Randy Savage, heard of him? Pretty famous.
Yeah.
So
2 intact knees at this time.
Well, better than
Mostly,
better than they'll be by the end of this podcast. But in 93 and 94, he's working in the WWF, and Vince is wanting to wind down the Macho Man. And in 93 or 94, he's a part-time wrestler, part-time commentator. And I love the Macho Man Randy Savage.
Yeah.
His commentary is mostly terrible. It's that character does not necessarily translate to being able to help get other guys over. Like, he's not an analyst. He's a color guy, but he's not a color guy in the way Jesse Ventura is a color guy. It's not great, right?
He also can't talk for an entire night. Like,
right. Well, that's how he really talks. So it's hard to
like, it's just the blood splatter that would start coming out of his mouth from his vocal cords slamming together over and over again.
So Vince is trying to wind him down because Vince is trying to go younger, and Macho Man's like, I still have good years left. And so at the end of 1994, he leaves the WWF to go to WCW because Hogan goes to WCW, and he's essentially on the back of Hulk Hogan has legitimized WCW, who's had the face in the doo-doo for years and years. Right?
Yeah, you gotta give the outsiders credit too, though. Oh wait, no, he's already there. Never mind. That was later.
Yeah. So Hogan comes in, immediately does the biggest buy rate WCW's ever done. On his first pay-per-view, because Hulk Hogan is massive star. You can't take that away from him. Yeah. But Savage, Bischoff decides to sign Randy Savage because Bischoff says that essentially with Randy Savage you get the Slim Jim sponsorship because Savage was their spokesperson, and what Slim Jim pays Randy Savage, so WCW doesn't have to really. It sort of offsets itself, right? And then you get another star in Randy the Macho Man Savage. So they're not having to fit the bill to pay Hulk Hogan and Randy Savage, because Slim Jim's paying Savage.
That's a weird thing, because wouldn't like Savage be like, yeah, Slim Jim's paying me, but also you're gonna pay me?
Well, I think it was like WCW's also going to let him wrestle. Vince wasn't going to let him wrestle.
Yeah.
And so
and Slim Jim probably wants him wrestling too. You know how many times they said snap into it?
Well, I've got some critique of old Diamond Dallas Page.
Snap into this. He
snap. So, and Savage does some pretty good work. He has a really good feud with Ric Flair in 1995 that is credited with turning around the house show business for WCW. The feud's much better than the one they had in WWF. And since Hogan's not doing house shows, this is what they take out on the road. Is Savage also as a babyface, and he wins the WCW title a couple of times, but he's still he's second banana to Hogan, just like he was in the WWF. He will never be the top guy in either company with Hogan.
Yeah, was he ever first banana? Was he ever where Hogan wasn't and first banana in the place that he was?
No, because anytime he was the top guy, it was because Hogan was gone, and then Hogan would come back and beat Macho Man for the title.
Vince, brother, Vince. I don't know. I had a dream, man. I gotta fight. I gotta beat the Macho Man.
Specifically, the Macho Man. I don't want you to switch the belt beforehand.
No. Wherever the Macho Man is, that's where you got the Hulkster, brother.
And my dreams, I'm very I like to stay locked in with what the Dream has. Dream didn't have me beating Ted DiBiase for the title. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Uh, so NWO NWO starts. Randy Savage is a prime opponent of the NWO, right? And now you got Hogan and Savage on different sides, and that's great.
Yeah.
But of course, because it's WCW, Macho Man's going to join the NWO.
It just absorbs everybody. It's just
Yeah,
that was their downfall. They could have done so much more. So over the time, was this, and I know it's hard to nail down whose idea was what, but was this a thing where like that was just kind of a move they had? They're like, well, we don't have, they couldn't write better stories, so like if they wanted to surprise everybody, they're like, okay, then he goes into the NWO, and that's like a big
Oh,
pop they can get.
oh yeah, and we'll see that in the breakdown of this also. There's a lot of that sort of thing where it's just shocking turns for no real reason. I mean, the Macho Man's story makes a little more sense because he was essentially being blackballed by Eric Bischoff as a babyface in the storyline. And so to be able to wrestle in WCW, he has to join the NWO. But now he's second banana on Hogan's team because
he's probably fourth banana
he might
on
be
the
third or fourth
NWO.
banana. Yeah. So, but anyway, so on the other side, Diamond Dallas Page he tried to become a wrestler in the late 70s, in like 1979, and he injured his knee and retired after 3 matches. So
Fuck that shit. I'm
yeah,
gonna go do yoga.
But he's like a nightclub owner, and he's kind of wrestling adjacent.
He looks
For
like a nightclub.
yeah, of course, yeah. And then in the early 90s, he comes back to WCW as a manager. And he manages Scott Hall, and he briefly manages Kevin Nash, and he's in with the Freebirds, but he's just kind of this big, ostentatious character as Diamond Dallas Page. Has a pink Cadillac, but he doesn't wrestle.
Hell yeah.
But then at the tender age of 35, he decides I want to be a wrestler again. And so he's trained by Dusty Rhodes and started with Buddy Lee Parker. He's trained by the WCW Power Plant, essentially. And he's a lower comedy heel. As for years, he's just kind of mulling around with no real storylines, no real advancement. and there's your guy with Kurt Hennig.
Look at those freaking sunglasses. Those are some warrior ass sunglasses.
Yeah, I mean, look at that perm, dude. Look at both those perms.
That's so
all
sick.
3 of those perms, actually.
Who is that? The girl?
I think that's Medusa, maybe.
Okay, because I was gonna say it looks like Sunny, but this is way too early for Sunny.
Yeah, that might be Medusa. Maybe somebody I don't know. But in like 95, he's kind of coming along, and he wins the television title as the comedy heel. And
Diamond Doll Tanya is who that is.
Then I was wrong. Sorry, Diamond Doll Tanya. Your legacy remains.
Get it right.
Yeah. God damn it, I'm supposed to be the expert on this podcast. And so he wins the TV title. He feuds with Johnny B. Bad. He has Kimberly Page with him already. And he ends up doing a storyline where he says he won $13 million in an arm wrestling contest. But it turns out that he stole, quote unquote, a lottery ticket from Kimberly that Kimberly had won. And so he gets fired from he loses a retirement match against Johnny B. Bad, and then he goes broke. And that's whenever we first saw him before, and he's got like the chewed up cigar, and his gear doesn't fit, and it's all shitty.
We loved Bum Page.
Yeah, Dirtbag Page is pretty good, and then the NWO shows up, and he's friends with Hall and Nash. And they're trying to get him to join in real life. And because he's also friends with Eric Bischoff. He lives down the street from Eric Bischoff in real life. And they're like, come join us. And luckily, Diamond Dallas Page realizes, like, no, the money's in the opposition.
I'm
Like,
like sixth or seventh banana if I stick around.
right. It's me and Vincent and Scott Norton hanging out
Yeah.
in the back of the NWO shots
He's
when
not
there's
even Buff Bagwell tier.
yeah. The money's in the opposition. You need somebody to oppose the NWO. And like, even though Page isn't a guy that a lot of people overly respect at this point, he's had a feud with Eddie Guerrero for the US title that he lost at this point. He's moving up in stature a little bit whenever we begin this story. So I want to start with the first video that I sent to Andrew was Diamond Dallas Page turns down the NWO. So uh, the NWO's been trying to get Page to join them, and they've been flirting with this idea that like it's in the bag. Bischoff and Ted DiBiase are commentating a jobber match that DDP's having, and they're like,
A lot of these videos start with jobber matches. It's
yeah,
like at like three or four of the videos that you sent me were like, so anyway, he's kicking the shit out of this jobber, hits him with a diamond cutter,
mhm.
and then somebody else shows up.
But I love that. That's part of what I was going to talk about is every week you're showing Page on TV and you're establishing him and you're establishing the diamond cutter and he's
They
getting to cut a
they put
promo.
they put the diamond cutter over huge. Like the
Yeah.
diamond cutter was one of the most devastating moves in the history of wrestling, according to Bobby Heenan and Tony Schiavone. You know,
Yeah. Your dad is dead
yeah.
if you get hit with the diamond cutter. But the NWO come out after Page beats this jobber with the diamond cutter. And Hall and Nash come out. They've got the shirt. The fix is in.
Dude, Scott Hall's so cool, by the way.
He
Like,
fucking rules, dude.
it's just he just oozes charisma. He's flicking the toothpick. Like, there's nobody
Uh,
cooler than Scott Hall.
everybody, in my opinion, to some degree, is drafting Scott Hall's coolness. You know, like in a race, there's guys behind the lead car and they're using the lead car's speed to kind of
Yeah,
like
yeah,
Nash is cool by association to Scott Hall. He's
yeah.
and
And
Six
Nash
is
himself is kind of cool, but
he's
like
kind of cool,
he's
but it's
not that
cooler.
cool.
It's cooler that he's hanging out with Scott Hall. You
Oh
know,
yeah,
it bumps him up to the next level. And
all of them.
yeah, but they
Even
come,
Six at some point when he walks out of this just looks like a dork.
yeah, but it works because Hall's there, and Hall
Because
like he just knows what's cool.
Scott Hall co-signed him. You know,
Yeah,
it's like Benny the Jet Rodriguez told everybody to be nice to Smalls. It's basically what's going on. Scott Hall's
Six,
Benny the Jet Rodriguez.
yes, of the NWO, and there's nearly as many members of the Sandlot
Yeah,
baseball team as
yeah.
the NWO. But they come out, they give Paige the shirt. Paige puts the shirt on, and the crowd does cheer when this happens. They do
Yeah.
pop because oh, a new guy's in the NWO. That's cool. We got to see
And
that.
this is before, well, it's already a little played out. I was going to say this was before it was totally played out,
Yeah,
but like everybody liked, like Paige, the two notes that I made at the beginning of this were, man, Scott Hall was so cool and Diamond Dallas Page is so likable. Like,
yeah.
so I think it's like, based on the crowd reaction and what I think about Diamond Dallas Page, he could have ended up a fourth banana, fifth banana, fifth banana. You know, just above the stuff. You know what I mean?
Right. I was gonna say a Buff Bagwell equivalent, like
Yeah,
in an alternate universe, Paige is that guy. You
yeah.
know, in the NWO. But as they do the cool handshake and Hall goes to turn away, Page holds onto it, grabs him, hits the diamond cutter. Nash turns around, and I got to give my props to Kevin Nash here. Page low bridges him over the top rope, and Nash takes this great bump onto a table that's sitting there where he flips the table onto himself like a Looney
Yeah.
Tunes
Yeah.
cartoon.
Yeah. Well, and that's one thing that I will give. I would give the Outsiders a lot because I think a lot of what they did was cool. But like, it's like Scott Hall sold hard for guys.
Yeah.
Like, and I know, did they ever have like a reputation for being heavy for like not selling for everybody?
No, Hall was like super generous as
Yeah.
a wrestler, and Nash too was not afraid. Like, a great thing for them was they were not afraid to have their face in the doo-doo in the
That's
same
what I
way
feel like.
that a lot of guys were afraid to have
Yeah.
it, to have the joke be on them. And it's like, they're heels. Ultimately, the joke should be on them, you know. And so Page jumps into the crowd. He grabs the NWO shirt. He rips it off. Immediate babyface, like a much bigger pop for when he diamond cuts Scott Hall than it was whenever he was going to join the NWO.
When he put the shirt on, yeah, and the crowd, the guys in the crowd play with it. There's like, especially those crowds, there's not very many better ways to endear like a fandom to you than to jump in the crowd, because anybody who's near you, they just love touching wrestlers. Like,
Right.
guys in the crowd just love touching wrestlers. It's a
Yeah.
kind of an odd thing sometimes. Like, not even in a homoerotic way. When people walk by you and you're just like, I just want to fucking touch that dude. Like, it's
Yeah.
weird.
That guy was just in there in the ring. That's where
so
I
I
want
get to
be.
touch him.
Yeah.
It's a transfer of energy.
It's like I was in the ring almost.
Yeah.
So then the night after Super Brawl, we have our second clip where Macho Man had turned heel at Super Brawl to help Hulk Hogan defeat Rowdy Piper and retain the world title. That's where Savage turns heel for inexplicable reasons at that particular moment. And so Diamond Dallas Page is wrestling Squire Dave Taylor, who is not quite a jobber, but a little bit of a jobber. And he beats him. Yeah, he beats him quick with a off the shoulders version of the Diamond Cutter, which is really cool. And the commentators again are talking about, like, Page practices all these ways to hit the Diamond Cutter, so he can hit it out of anywhere, out of any position, anytime, where he can. It's an instant counter, and then you're dead.
Yeah, from what I understand, especially in the modern era, it is a move that you can hit out of nowhere.
One might say that it could, in fact, come out of nowhere. Yeah. So after Page beats Dave Taylor, Nash and Hall come out, and they're surrounding the ring, and Page is like, oh shit. And then the Macho Man sneaks down with the spray paint, nails Page in the back of the head with the spray paint. They spray paint him. Savage hits one of what will be a million giant elbows off the top rope onto Diamond Dallas Page. A fan tried to jump in and quickly gets relieves himself of that idea. Don't jump in the ring ever.
Scott Hall could not wait to fuck this guy up.
And they love it, dude.
He threw as hard as he could the first right hand, doesn't really land it, and then the guy kind of bends over, and Hall hits him as hard as he can on the back of the head, closed fist, straight to the back of the head. Could have blinded the guy, but
CTE'd that dude.
Yeah, and then Randy Savage wants to bite his jugular vein, but Randy doesn't really hit him with anything. But he's like, give me that motherfucker. And then my favorite part about this. So I write down, this is how I work with a lot of these, right?
Yeah.
Bobby Heenan, man. Like, Bobby Heenan, Dusty Rhodes are like, I have some really great Dusty Rhodes lines later on. But as soon as Scott Hall and Kevin Nash show up, because they show up to, like, I don't even think they might have played the music. I can't remember. This might have been one of the times where they just walked out. But as soon as the camera goes to Hall and Nash walking out, you just hear Heenan go, see ya. And then Shivani's like, no, you have to stay out here. It's like, he's just like, all right, I'm out of here.
As soon as the big bad guys show up, he's like, peace out.
Well, have a good day. I'm out of here.
If there could be a cartoon cloud under his feet, that would happen.
I just love that it was no panic at all. It wasn't like I'm screaming or anything. He just goes, see ya.
Yeah. So that's kind of the start of the angle. The funny thing to me here is they're like, we have to go to break, and it's like, well, what's the resolution to this? Hall, Nash, and Savage are in the ring. DDP's knocked out. There's no one. If they wanted to kill Diamond Dallas Page, there's no one in the ring to stop them. No one's ran out to help, nothing. And I think that Shivani goes, hope the carnage will come to an end soon. Anyway, we got to go to break. And you hear Heenan at the end of the clip go, he's still in the ring. And Shivani's like, yeah. Anyway.
We got to sell some Tide.
Yeah, somebody will come out assuredly. So next, Diamond Dallas Page calls out Macho Man Randy Savage. Guess what? DDP, Diamond cuts another jobber. And
Yeah, right at the beginning,
uh,
just smokes him.
uh, I like, again, I really like this slow progression. It's like every week, Page gets a little match to show you what he can do. He gets to cut a promo. You get to slowly see the fans getting behind him. He's also seems smart and cool. Like
Yeah,
the NWO aren't the smartest, coolest guys in the ring when they're with Page. Page doesn't act stupidly like around
yeah.
them, which is a huge part of why he got over, I think, because the
Well,
baby
and
faces are so dumb.
it's yeah, it's like those movies where the good guy just like wants to go about his day, but the bad guy won't leave him alone. You know, like DDP is just fucking these jobbers up. Like
Yeah,
he's just hanging out,
he'd be happy.
coming in, going into the arena, thunk to his time card, walks in, Diamond cuts a jobber, thunks his time card, and leaves with Kimberly, right?
Yeah.
But all these guys keep either trying to fight him or trying to beat up somebody that doesn't deserve to get beat up or doing regular carnage, and he can't just stand by and watch that stuff happen. And now he's starting to get annoyed and like pissed off by this guy,
Yeah.
and it's starting to burn his beans a little bit, you know?
So after the match, Mean Gene comes in the ring to interview him. And before they interview him, they show footage of the beatdown from last week, which is fine, except they're showing it to Paige. Like, hey, remember last week when those dudes came out and they fucked you up real bad? How do you feel about that? It's like,
I'm
and
gonna be honest with you. I don't remember that happening.
wait a minute, I was here last week.
Yeah, he hit me right in the back of the head with a goddamn paint can.
I slapped you tonight. That was week. I thought that was weeks ago. And this is where, unfortunately, for all the cool that Diamond Dallas Page has, and I love Page, this is the first of many times that he uses the phrase, "If you're that much of a savage, snap into this," and then he does the diamond cutter sign. It does the bang,
Yeah,
and but the crowd's into it. It's 1997.
yeah.
It's a lame
We're
line,
not
and
cynical yet.
right, we still believe in things. This is
Yeah.
a pre 9/11 world. You know, there's
Yeah.
there's still optimism.
There's still a twinkle in our eye, Dusty.
Yeah, this is pre the housing crisis, so we're okay. I couldn't find a good clip of this, so I didn't send it. But at Uncensored, the next pay per view, Diamond Dallas Page comes out for an interview, and Kimberly comes out, and Savage comes out and interrupts Page and starts talking about how he was going through the airport and he saw Diamond Dallas Page's wife in Playboy, which was a real thing that happened. She was really in Playboy, and then Kimberly walks out and she's been spray painted all over with the NWO logo.
I think that's on. I think we watched that. I think that's on. That's probably on Peacock, right?
Yeah, because we watched Uncensored 97 back in the day.
Yeah.
So, and then
Ugh.
when real stinky. But when Paige turns around to tend to Kimberly, Savage blindsides him again with the paint can, and then they paint NWO on Paige and on Kimberly. So the clip I found.
Fool you twice, Paige.
I'm not just savage. I'm also smart. Macho Man Randy's smart. It's my secondary name.
Don't turn your back to the Macho Man.
He might actually say that at some point.
You can't turn your back to the Macho Man.
No.
He's gonna hit you with something.
Yeah.
I don't care if he's your best friend. He can't help it.
So the night after, there's an interview where Paige comes out after, of course, beating another jobber. Just diamond cut that guy into oblivion.
Everybody's a jobber to this guy, you know.
And he's talking to Mean Gene about Uncensored, and he's like, "You brought my real life into this. For as far as I'm concerned, Savage, you were born to be a chalk outline," which doesn't get the pop that I think he was hoping for. That's a decent line.
It got a better. It didn't get the pop that Snap into this got. So I think that's where he learned. He's like, all right, I got to dumb it down a little bit for these people.
And then he goes, "You're a dead man walking," and Mean Gene goes, "Well, that might be a little strong." This is also a theme throughout this
It's a
feud.
children's program.
Yeah. we're sponsored by Slim Jim, please.
Yeah, they're not into this.
Slim Jims are killing hundreds of thousands of people
That's
every.
more of a Jack Link's beef jerky line. It's not a Slim Jim line.
Well, who do you think our sponsor is? The Sour Patch Kids? And then Savage responds in the crowd, and I think it's funny that Savage is pretending that he doesn't know who Diamond Dallas Page is. He's like big timing him. Which is great as a heel whose whole thing is I'm the goddamn Macho Man.
Seeing a picture of Macho Man, like seeing the video of Macho Man Randy Savage in the crowd, for some reason, is every time I see him in the crowd, I'm like, look at that fucking guy. Like, there's a bunch of normal people with the craziest looking human being you've ever seen standing in the middle.
I was gonna say, like, Page fits because he's kind of like an everyday dude.
Yeah, he just looks like an exceptional 90s guy, you know?
Yeah, but Randy Savage is a cartoon. He's a cartoon. He might as well be the big hat Texan from The Simpsons.
Like he's called the Macho Man.
Yeah, if you saw that guy in the wild. So of course, this is another thing. Diamond Dallas Page is like, I'm down to fight whenever. It's on site with me. He's always challenging Savage. Like, let's do it right now, dude. And Savage is always the guy who has to back off, which I feel like is another great babyface trait that they're slowly giving Page, that like the other NWO guys never showed the fact that they were willing to back down.
Hall, like he's being a bit of a chicken shit.
Yeah, he's talking all that shit, and he'll attack DDP when the back is turned, but straight up he doesn't want to fight Page, right? And so that gets us to our first match, which is from Spring Stampede 1997. Of course, this when you think of spring, you think of Tupelo, Mississippi.
That's where that's definitely what I spring Tupelo immediately.
8,356 people watched this. I think that again, this is a great starting point because they've been building this match for almost 2 months. It's the night after Super Brawl to Spring Stampede, so they haven't had any matches yet, and they've been just building this thing. Like eventually they're going to collide.
They're finally going to get their hands on each other. But did you catch what the Macho Man said on the way to the ring?
Yeah, he's talking about how he wants to throw a party after the match. He's so confident that he's going to win. And he's talking to Elizabeth, and I believe the quote is he's planning an after party, and he's going to invite between 14 and 22 ladies.
Yeah, he says, first he goes, I'm going to moiter the bum. And I don't even know what moiter means.
It might be martyr. He might be trying to say martyr.
And then he goes, I'm psyched up to the max. And then this is just Macho Man rambling as he's walking to the ring because he knows that they have the camera on him and he's got to be talking the whole time. So he says, I'm going to moiter the bum. I'm psyched up to the max. And he goes, I'm not trying to take away from the party because the party's going to be the party because it's going to be cool anyway. But I'm going to invite a lot of women, probably 14 to 22 women. He goes, do you have a problem with that? And Kimberly, and he like points at her, and Elizabeth goes, no. And he goes, not a problem. I like it. And then he goes, let's throw a special party, Slim Jims for everybody.
And do you have Bobby Heenan's line after that?
No. What does he say?
So Savage goes, Slim Jims for everybody, and there's a long beat. And then Heenan goes, nothing's too good for his friends. And then Savage has a Spinal Tap moment, and he goes, only problem I'm having, which way to the ring?
He goes, which way to the ring? That's my only problem.
Yeah. Just wonderful. 14 to 22 women sounds like that. You know that scene in 40-Year-Old Virgin when Steve Carell's trying to describe having sex, but he doesn't know.
Bag of sand.
That's the same thing. No one's ever said I'm going to invite between 14 and 22 ladies.
It's just such arbitrary numbers.
Yeah.
Both of them.
I love it. It's so funny. And then Paige, he cuts it like a decent promo about how, you know, if you're a man in this life, if you don't stand up for what you believe in, you're basically walking through it. But then Kimberly is like, uh, I usually try to keep Paige's rage in check. And
Yeah.
tonight, I'm just going to say, let it ride. And Mean Gene, who's been a professional at this for 30 years, knows that's the line that you go out on. So he takes the
Yeah.
mic and he goes, I like the sound of that. And then she grabs the mic back and it's like, his rage is going to vindicate me, essentially. And it's like, no, that's not the line. The line was, I'm going to let it ride.
You should have quit while you were ahead, sister.
Yeah. So, um, Tony Schiavone describes Diamond Dallas Page as a man who would not say no, but I don't know what that means. He's like, Page is the man who would not say no, and I think he's trying to say Page was the man who said no to the NWO. You know, but he got
oh yeah, he would
miscombobulated.
not say yes,
Right.
or he won't say no to a challenge.
Right, but he is the man who will not say no.
That's the that's the alternate Columbine book. The she said yes.
Yeah.
And the one that fewer people read was the man who would not say no. Oh man! Rest in peace to those 12 kids.
A critique of this match.
There's Macho Man in the crowd, by the way. I found
next to a cop. That cop should arrest that man. Clearly, that man is going to be a problem.
This man is unhinged.
Yeah,
look at him.
Well, the lightning pants with the zebra bandana is like,
dude,
what a
I
look.
I love the lightning pants so much. They're so sick. He's just a time capsule, and his hair is so weird. It's like stringy and like dead. He just dyed it too many times.
Yeah, I was gonna say, imagine how frazzled that hair is. You know, so I like this match. The thing that I think they messed up here is this is a no disqualification match, and this is the first match between them. So I feel like because we're gonna get to it. Starting with a no DQ match doesn't leave you a lot of space to up the stakes. You know,
yeah.
you know what I mean? So we also have to RIP to Diamond Dallas Page's healthy ribs, because this is the last time this man will ever have healthy ribs.
Yeah, he's never gonna breathe the same again. After this, there's a part where they Page they fight into the crowd. And Paige hits him with what's obviously like a real trash can. Like there's trash and trash juice in it. Yeah. And you know, Macho Man was like, Paige, that's a shoot can. You son of a bitch.
Did you ever see the movie Hot Rod?
Yeah.
Where Danny McBride hits that dude with the trash can and he just yells, trash! That's what I can think about. So, no, Paige, there's 16 Diet Cokes at the bottom of this can.
That one had sauce in it.
Now I'm covered in teriyaki sauce. I love that in spite of the fact that Bobby Heenan is supposed to hate the NWO, he can't help but be a heel. Sometimes on commentary, like, Savage is menacing everyone around ringside. And then he grabs the ring announcer, David Pinzer, and he starts slapping Pinzer around. And Bobby Heenan just goes, nothing wrong with that. And they're like, no, there certainly is something wrong with that. And he goes, oh, he's just hitting Pinzer. Like,
and Schiavone goes, announcers do not need to be slapped around. And Dusty Rhodes kind of off mic. You hear him go, oh, we got him again. Dusty's off mic work on a lot of these is just perfect.
So Savage goes to grab the ringside bell, which is a callback to the feud he had with Ricky Steamboat, where he used the ring bell to quote unquote crush Ricky Steamboat's larynx whenever Savage was a heel. So that's like, I love Randy Savage heel because it's all the stuff he learned in Memphis where you stall and you run away as a chicken shit, and you use your power to beat up people that can't fight back from you as ways to get heat. And like Savage doesn't need to use the bell, but he wants to because he just wants to hurt Diamond Dallas Page. Like
And Shivani is very careful to point out, hey everybody, that's the backup bell. So when we don't worry, when this match is over, you're still going to hear the primary bell.
Right.
We keep a secondary bell there for such cases as these. When a psycho Macho Man wants to hit somebody.
Funny. Actually, we had the bells travel in separate cars, like the president and vice president, in case something happens to one of the other bells. We still have one to start the match times.
That's what they should have done for like Macho Man. That was like his signature move. So the timekeeper has the bell handcuffed to his hand.
Yeah, he's got it double keyed, like a nuclear submarine.
It's the nuclear foot bell.
Yeah, there you go. That's the end of the podcast. So, of course, our main man, we shout him out. We love him. Mark Curtis is the referee in this match.
Just sorry, Hebner, sorry, all of them. Mark Curtis is the greatest wrestling referee of all time.
Yeah.
He's doing the shadow boxing thing. He's like, he's cringing every time. He gets right up in there in the action. Like, man, and
Hildebrand, we in the rafters. You know?
Is it Brian Hildebrand?
Brian Hildebrand, yeah.
Yeah,
we retired the jersey. He eats a power driver here because...
Yeah, he got smoked.
Yeah, because, again, Savage's thing is like the smaller people that can't fight back against him. When he's upset, that's what he lashes out against because he's a shitball heel. And I love it.
And Dusty Rhodes goes, brother, he got him over tea kettle here. You know what I'm talking
about. Savage does hit the elbow for the visual pinfall while there's no ref. Nick Patrick comes out, who up until this point has been the designated NWO referee, but is apparently starting to have a crisis of conscience for reasons that I do not recall and couldn't find on the internet. For some reason, he's now decided being the NWO's referee not as cool.
I saw something where, like, I didn't watch it, but J.J. Dillon, like, reinstated him back.
This was after that.
Oh, this was okay.
Or that was after
this.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Patrick's out. He's got his no sleeves referee shirt because he's got to show the guns off because he's the bad guy referee.
I could have swore I went to dirt track car racing the other day.
Yeah.
I saw 13 Nick Patricks, and there was a guy who looked exactly like the son from Pawn Stars.
Hell yeah, dude.
My dad looks over at me at one point. We're watching the races, and he goes, "Hey, you watch Pawn Stars?" And it was like super loud, so I had to read my dad's lips. But I'm at the dirt track races. He's probably talking about Pawn Stars, so I was like, "Yeah, what's up?" And I knew my dad was gonna go like, "Hey, that guy over there looks like Chumley." I knew that was what was coming.
Right.
And then I look over. I'm like, "Hey, he's like a chubby guy with like whatever." Yeah, Chumley. Huh? My dad goes, "No, the son." And I look down. There's a guy exactly like the guy.
Might have been the guy. I don't know.
It could have been. Well, he's probably down on his luck if it was this guy. But
he just loves dirt track racing.
Yeah, but this guy was disheveled. Maybe he's trying to maybe that's his thing, bum chic.
Ask me about precious metals. Ask me about the price of precious metals, please. Anybody need a Beatles autograph authenticated?
I haven't gotten to flex my muscle on that. I just remember that guy, really weird handshake. He goes high elbow. I think he's trying to look cool.
Yeah. And
anyway.
Did you hear that the guy who used to authenticate a bunch of their stuff is disgraced now?
Why? He was like always like wrong?
Yeah, or he would authenticate stuff or he would say that stuff wasn't authentic that was real. And then,
hell yeah. And then when they were walking out, he'd be like, "I'll give you $50 for it, man.
On the
you
side,
got no use
by the
for
way.
it. Nobody will buy this shit." But what would he authenticate?
Well, it was anything like autographs. Or,
they had a bunch of different guys for different things.
But it was that's how I knew. I always knew that's how I always knew that's one of the fakest shows on TV because it's like you've just got these guys on your beck and call to come look at stuff, and you seem to know the history of whatever item walks in here.
That's the thing. There's no way Rick Harrison knows. Well, you see, with these coins, they only made 6 of them, and they were
Right.
only in Tennessee. And
Yeah.
the guy was a drunk, and like, okay, so you knew this was coming in. You had the shoot set up,
Yeah.
and they handed you the notes on these. Anyway,
Yeah. But
we should do a Pawn Stars. Did they ever do a wrestling Pawn Stars?
they did do some wrestling stuff. Yeah.
We should
watch one.
Figure something out. Yeah.
So anyway, out of a body slam reversal, Paige hits the diamond cutter. The crowd pops so huge when Paige hits this diamond cutter.
Yeah.
And he does the slow crawl. Like Savage is dead. He's been murdered by this diamond cutter. And oh brother.
Oh man.
And
consider my diamonds cut, brother.
Paige does the slow crawl, one arm over on Savage, and Nick Patrick has a moment of confliction and then counts the 3. Another huge pop. This was great. If they would have ended it here, this is a great showcase for Diamond Dallas Page.
Yes, but this is an NWO feud, Dusty.
Yeah.
The NWO doesn't lose last. You know this. Right. I don't know if it ever happened.
No.
Did it ever happen?
Yeah, but kind of on the, like, they were hoisted on their own petard kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, so of course, Bischoff comes out, the NWO guys come out, Nash comes out, and he's arguing with Nick Patrick, and then Nick Patrick eats a jackknife powerbomb, and that's the real end of the show. And you could have done that the next night. Give Paige, especially because of what's going to happen, like give Paige his moment in the sun to really like bask in because this is the biggest victory of Diamond Dallas Page's career by far. And this is such a huge feud that they main evented this show. It's a non-Hulk Hogan WCW pay-per-view, the first time Diamond Dallas Page has main evented a pay-per-view. And he gets the win over Macho Man and then doesn't even get a second to celebrate the fact that he won this match.
And it's just, that's your star now.
Yeah.
That guy right there is your star now. You've got Steve in the rafters. I understand you've got Steve in the rafters. And everybody likes Steve in the rafters. Yep. I like Steve in the rafters. Big fan. But you're every day fighting jobbers week in, week out, but everybody loves him. Wrestling the NWO, getting after him. Star. I mean, imagine like a big DDP versus like Kevin Nash, or a DDP versus Scott Hall feud.
Yeah.
He teams up with Luger. DDP and Luger versus the Outsiders.
Yeah. Those are, this instantly legitimizes Page, like you're saying. Like it's a stamp. This dude immediately is a top guy to be considered. There's a great story that Diamond Dallas Page tells where they're working the house shows in preparation for doing this match, and they're in some little town or whatever getting ready to go on, and Arn Anderson comes in and he goes, well, what do you want the finish to be, Randy? Because Randy's calling his own finishes here. It's not up to anybody else. And Randy's like tying his boots and he goes, I think I want to take the diamond cutter tonight. And Arn Anderson
at the house show?
At the house show.
Okay.
Prior to this match. And so Arn Anderson is talking to Page. They're all in the room together, Anderson, Page, and Savage. And he goes, I hope you know what a great honor this is, Page. And he goes, yeah, no, it's great. Thank you so much. They go out there. Savage calls this exact spot, reverse of the body slam into the diamond cutter. And the crowd at this house show pops huge. And Page pins him. And while they're laying there, Page is pinning him. Savage goes, I guess I know what we're doing for Spring Stampede. and it worked. It fucking worked.
Boners galore, brother.
Can you imagine? The other thing is Diamond Dallas Page was talking about when they were doing house shows. He's like, Savage is so light. He's like, everything he does, he moves so light. He moves like a dancer, and he doesn't even hit you. And you like, if he's gonna throw you, he throws you light. He's like, this is a night off, man. This is great. And then he's like, the first time that we locked up for TV, he rears back and fucking wham. And he's like, oh, okay, I get it. I
Yeah.
see when the red light's on, it's fucking time to go. And when we're doing the house shows, why hurt yourself?
When you got the camera right up in your grill, and people can even back then rewind it, and it ends up on some guy's tape, and
yep.
you know, Savage misses by 1.5 feet, and he sells it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, and
That's interesting.
The adrenaline of that, you're probably amped up a little bit more too. Like, he wasn't saying the Savage was stiff with him or like took liberties, but he's like, it's snug. You know, we're fighting.
Oh yeah,
for
and he made it look more believable,
and it looks more real. Yeah. So all it does is help. So the next video is one that I love because Page comes out and he's fucked up. His face is fucked up. He's got like a thing on his shoulder. He's hurting. And he comes to the ring and he's like, yeah, I won last night. Guess what? I don't care. I want to kick your ass. It's on site with Diamond Dallas Page. She's like, I want to kick your ass every night for eternity. You spray painted my wife. That's my wife.
You son of a bitch. You don't spray paint a man's wife.
And Savage comes out and he's on crutches. And his knees all messed up. And he's coming down, and Bobby Heenan's selling Randy Savage again as a crazy. He's like, he'll fight you with 2 broken legs. He doesn't care. And Savage starts making his way to the ring. Hogan comes down, and Hogan's like, let me do it. I'll be the one to, I'll fuck him up for you tonight since your knees hurt.
He's being his Kaniki.
Yeah, he's trial by combat. Savage selects Hulk Hogan to fight the Mountain. So
as tribute.
Yeah. Oh, brother. I'm gonna have to bodies.
You're gonna be my tributary.
Do you remember the time I body slammed the Mountain? 800 pounds, brother. This was in Westeros. I was able to do a main event in Westeros, fly back home, wrestle Big John Studd in Madison Square Garden.
The time difference.
Different time zones, brother. And so as Hogan and the rest of the NWO are moving forward, Sting fucking shows up. So 13-year-old Dusty, I was like, couldn't contain myself. Sting.
Yeah.
And he comes,
Steve from the rafters.
He drops down from the rafters, which looks dope, and then he trips a little bit, little less dope. Tough.
It's like a typo in like a good tweet.
Yeah.
Or like when you're trashing your friend, you're talking trash and you make a typo. It's always it made it flaccidity.
Yeah. It was. Oh man, he's not an undead demon from beyond.
Yeah.
He still
undead
has
demons do not trip.
No, he still needs proper footwear. So he does throw the bat to DDP without looking, which is pretty dope. He throws the bat to him, and then they hold off the NWO. And that ends the show. So now Page is like, from wrestling jobbers and doing interviews, now he's in the big segment at the end of the show. He's interacting with Hogan. Sting has given him the cosign. They're doing it. They're doing everything right for Diamond Dallas Page, the character, to continue to cause him to ascend. Like, I don't think they've really messed anything up yet. That has not.
Me neither. I think everything. One thing I've realized, and like, we'll get to this. Like, I might as well bring it up now because I prefaced it. But I noticed this more in the J.J. Dillon promo that we see later. The interview with Mean Gene in the ring.
Yeah.
These guys sounded like they were having real conversations. Like even like Macho Man is a character. Like he's a cartoon character. So like he doesn't talk like a normal person, even though that's how he talks.
Right.
It sounded like real vitriol. It wasn't the like. So everybody in the WWE now, like their promos are like really segmented. There's no real flow to them. It's like one line and then another line and then another line and then another line. And like, it's, you don't know what I know about you, John Cena.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a big pop. And then you say another, you know what I mean? That type of stuff. It's very theatrical bullshit. And like, this was more like a show. Like they talked like people talked, and they like, it felt a lot more natural, and I think it made it a lot more fun. It didn't seem as much polished.
Yeah, and I don't think that anybody like obviously nobody has a script, and you trusted your guys. Like Mean Gene, if you watch enough Mean Gene, you
It's a
know
pro.
that that dude's a pro. He knows
Yeah.
how to guide somebody who's bombing and how to ask
Yes.
like probing questions that get you to the next thing to help you. So even a bad promo is helped. That's why you have a Mean Gene, you know. And then like Savage talks like Randy Savage. Diamond Dallas Page talks like Diamond Dallas Page. A big problem with promos now, aside from what you're saying, which is it it sounds a lot in those promos like they're waiting for the other guy to talk. Like here's all my lines. Pause. Now you say your
Hmm.
stuff back, and then I'll say my stuff back to you.
Yeah.
And because everything's written, or most guys' stuff is written, I think some guys have more free reign. Everybody kind of sounds the same because the writers are writing the show, you know. And like I'm sure they gave Page bullet points, or Savage might have had bullet points, but those guys sound like the truer versions of themselves.
It's how they would talk. It's how they would have done this if this is. It seems like, I mean, who knows? It probably would have been different because it's not reality. But like it seems like that is how Dallas Page would talk if somebody spray painted his wife. If
Yeah,
unless he could, it was real life and he could fucking chase the guy into his car with a bat. You know what I mean?
right.
Like it's like if they were put in this weird situation and they had to apply their personality to it, that's how this would go. And you make a good point about other people writing for you, or like writing by committee, because sometimes there's really good, I mean, in fiction there's a lot of really good writers who know how to put themselves in the headspace of a character, but it doesn't seem like that works all the time because there's all these characters that like these people are writing for. I don't know, maybe it's because these people are writing for characters that they didn't conceptualize, so like it's hard for them to get in the headspace of a character that they don't really identify with or something like that. But it's like I feel like they should just they should cut the leash a little bit more. Like let these people put on a show. Like don't have this. It doesn't have to be beat for beat everything that you planned exactly. You should trust your people a little bit more. There's going to be people who show up who can't do it yet. Like I'm sure it was tough for like God, her name is escaping me. The girl who came from AEW, Jade Cargill.
Yeah,
I'm sure it's tough for her because she's new in the business. She's still relatively new for somebody who's in WWE, right?
right.
So like maybe she needs a little bit more. Maybe she doesn't. I'm just throwing somebody out that I know is a little green. You know, Logan Paul's probably fine. He's been performing forever. But like these like why are you writing word for word? If they are, I don't know if they are, but like why are you writing word for word what Roman Reigns is going to say or what Randy Orton's going to say?
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
it's
and
like
it
he's probably fine.
well, and it homogenizes most of the guys, unless you have a guy who's really good who can take the verbiage, reinterpret it, and make it something that's his own. That's why, like,
Like Owens is pretty good at that.
I was about to use him as the example. Like, people talk
Yeah.
about how great Kevin Owens promos are because they feel more real in this time than lots of the promos do. And what they used to do back in the day was that's why they had managers, and they had
Yeah.
interviews, and they had all these people to boost somebody who can't talk, or somebody who has a great look, and it would diminish their look if they talked at all. You know, like I don't need to
Like Luke
hear.
Rockhold.
Right, like the warlord doesn't need to cut promos. Someone cuts promos on the warlord's behalf. You
Yeah.
know, like and you give guys who have weak promo skills uh managers, or you give a guy who has good promo skills a manager to make it better. Like Kurt Hennig could cut great promos, but he had Heenan to bounce those things off of too, to have a guy to play off of. And they just don't have that now. And so
Yeah.
it's so
And
much.
the difference was so stark watching this.
I was
That's why
Yeah,
I
because
didn't.
we were the JJ video is next, and I was gonna make the point like JJ sounds like the real commissioner of this
Exactly.
wrestling show.
I had the exact same thought.
Like it's a cartoon show, but much like we've talked about a lot, like I don't want the wrestling show to tell me the wrestling show's fake. I know it's
Yeah.
fake, but the show should pretend like what's happening is life and death, like every television show in the world. NYPD Blue, also not real, but they don't point that out to you all the time. All those characters take it deadly seriously, and J.J. Dillon's role is to believably come across as the guy trying to contain all of these insane characters.
Yeah, and it felt like a guy in this raucous crowd who just happens to be in the middle with a microphone,
Yeah.
rather than there's this big production happening where this ring is, and then the crowd happens to be there in the background. And I don't know if that's because they keep the crowd dark now, or like what that is, but there's the disconnect is palpable. JJ Dillon, like you said, like he seems like the commissioner. He seems like he's annoyed. He seems like he wants to come out and actually like do business, rather than I have to come out and be a character.
Yeah.
And like that's a little bit of Bischoff's fault. That's a little bit of Vince's fault that got broken in all of this. But like it's bled itself even into the wrestling characters. It's like this isn't this isn't even pretending to be anything but a massive production anymore.
Right.
Like we don't have to get into this too much, but I hate that they have a Netflix show about the writers' room coming out very soon.
Yeah, all of that has made it more like disconnected as a TV show. It's so much harder to get into the characters. It's so much harder to get into storylines. Like, I don't think there's a ton of people that in 1997 didn't know that wrestling is predetermined. But you're like, hey, Randy Savage fucked with this dude's wife, and now this dude wants to kick his ass all the time. I understand. Like, that's a very easy story to understand. And
Yeah.
it plays as believable because everybody in it is treating it with like a deathly seriousness. Like, even though Paige is a fun character and Macho Man's a cartoon, they are both playing it correctly within the story.
And now it's all about like the big pops happen because of legacy. It's like, oh man, Jey Uso can forever say he was WWE champion, or Cody Rhodes finished the story, or like all these things, rather than that guy spray painted that guy's wife in the back.
Yeah.
And that guy hit him with a devastating move, and I'm happy because that guy deserved to have his face in the doo-doo. It's not that anymore, because we're not even trying to write for that anymore. It's like I said, it's like it's all career milestone bullshit and surprise entries. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like,
anyway, it's tough. But this JJ comes out and he's been attacked by Savage the previous week, and so he's talking about. And he uses an example because J.J. Dillon's a real guy. He watches baseball. He's aware that Albert Bell had done something and got fined $5,000 by the MLB. And he's like, you put your hands on me, I think 50 grand is not too bad a number. And Mean Gene sells it that like as this insane thing. 50 G's is not nothing if that, as a fake fine. But that immediately makes Randy Savage come out again in the crowd, and he's like, I might as well write a check for $100 grand because I'm going to beat your ass again, JJ.
It's very funny. And this started because Macho Man drug Mean Gene's ass all the way to the ring, and Mean Gene did a good job of like selling it to where he's like, he's scared of Macho Man, but he's also like trying to keep his dignity as a man.
Right.
So he's like, hey dude, just get your hands off of me. Stop doing this.
Yeah.
But he's also like, dude, Randy, please stop. Because I can't even remember what he wanted. Because I watched the full clip. I can't remember why he wanted Mean Gene to go to the ring.
To interview him, I believe.
He just wanted an interview?
Because this is also before everybody interviewed themselves. It's like, you have to have Gene in there, And
they don't even have an interviewer anymore. That's true.
Yeah.
They bring back Coachman every once in a while.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But then when JJ Dillon is threatened, Diamond Dallas Page comes out. Because again, it's like, it's not that him and JJ Dillon are close friends or whatever. He hates the Macho Man. And he cannot stand by and allow the Macho Man to perpetrate his bullshit. And he gets on the mic and he's like, why don't we fight tonight? again, he's calling Savage on his shit. You
He
want?
hit him with the snap into it line.
Oh
Man.
yeah, he did. He's like,
Yeah.
you can beat up an old man and you can threaten an announcer. Fight me. And the Savage goes, "That's the dumbest move you've ever made. Your time is ended now."
It was really awkward. And Macho Man, this is the one time where we talk about the non-scripting. So you got to put some thought into that line. I think you got to put a little bit, because he stumbled all over his balls
it,
when he said that.
it sounded like he wanted to say two different things,
Yeah,
and then they both got to the train station at the same time. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it's a my face in your ass. Wait, my ass in your face.
yeah. And so then Savage comes down to the ring like a maniac out of this crowd, and his shirt gets ripped somehow.
It's just dudes that want to touch the
Yeah.
wrestler. That's the whole time. All you see is guys like literally putting their hand on his chest and Macho Man grabbing the hand and like pulling it away from him.
And then they start to fight, and it looks like they're really going at it. Again, if I saw this, I'm like, oh, those two guys really hate each other. Like they're and the crowd, and then they have to separate them, and of course, we got to go to break. So, and JJ Dillon makes the match that we're about to review, the match at Great American Bash, a lights out match, which they add a bunch of stuff to it. It's another no disqualification match. That's all it is.
According to Michael Buffer, at the beginning of the next match, it took him 15 minutes to say it because it's so long. It's the longest match type. I dare anybody to find a longer match type. This is a non-sanctioned, no disqualification, falls count anywhere in the building, must be a winner match.
It's a no disqualification. You could have just,
so it's no DQ.
Yeah. But then they do the lights out, and then they do a bunch of pyro.
So much pyro, bro.
Fucking the lights are out, but the pyro's on.
You
baby.
could hear Buff Bagwell backstage. You said no to my bonus, but you
How
200 grand for pyro in the lights out match.
This again, main events, the Great American Bash. We got no Hogan again. I think
Who needs him, to be honest?
Yeah, well, fuck him, dude. We got Macho Man and Paige. I think I like this match slightly better than the Spring Stampede match. We've got Savage. He power drives another referee, Mark Curtis, who's from the Quad Cities where this match is taking place. Fucking eats a power driver in this match.
And then just fucking when he takes out Mickey J, the original referee.
Yeah.
Apparently is his hometown. So Shivani goes, the referee Mickey J's been beat up. This is his home. And off the mic, you hear Dusty Rhodes go, well, we're going to need another one, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
He's just like, that motherfucker's never getting
No, he's dead.
Yeah.
It was really funny. Diamond Dallas Page does a tope over the top rope onto Savage on the floor, and then he gets up to celebrate, and then he's like, "Oh fuck, my ribs!" Like
I forgot him selling my ribs.
And to cover the fact that I think Diamond Dallas Page just has messed up ribs, they're like, "Well, remember last week he was attacked in the ribs again." So these are newly fresh injured ribs again. So we get Mark Curtis coming down, but he gets beat up by Randy Savage. They fight into the barbecue area where Dusty Rhodes is delighted.
Oh my god, it's so fucking good because it's like a VIP, hospitality area.
It must have been set up so they could go fight there, right?
Yeah, but it might also be like you want to pay an extra $5,000, we'll work an angle over here. You know?
Yeah, on the radio, you won tickets to eat food at a picnic table before Macho Man gets body slammed through it.
But Dusty Rhodes is so excited. There's a part where they start fighting, and Dusty Paige hits Savage with something, and Dusty Rhodes goes, "Get that barbecue pit behind you's a barbecue pit."
Yeah. He wants him to kill the Macho Man by hitting him with this barbecue pit. I think that the body slam through the picnic table doesn't sound like that's an easy bump to take. I don't think that table is meant to be body slammed through.
They couldn't afford to work that, so
Yeah, that's a rough landing for him. This is it. This is, as Andrew said, a lights out, no disqualification, no count out, must be a winner match. But Savage goes to pile drive Diamond Dallas Page on the concrete floor, and Nick Patrick, who's come out to be the referee, cannot allow this. That's the bridge too far, is to pile drive him on the floor, and they're like, "Well, that would kill him." And I'm like, well, what do you think's good? What do you think the point is of this match that's happening?
yeah, but Macho Man's on the ground and he's like, he poured charcoal on me.
my lightning pants are soot now.
I'd probably breathe that shit in.
I'm gonna have long-term effects. The Macho Man's got nothing if I don't have my cardio.
Tell billionaire Ted to get the checkbook.
So Savage attacks Nick Patrick. He also attacks the photographer. I just love unhinged Macho Man. He's like a rabid dog. Anybody gets too close to him, they're getting it. And then if he's upset at you, he's just gonna pallet drive you. You know.
Yeah, he is. And it's good. This is what a heel should be. The heel shouldn't just be he hits you in the nuts every once in a while.
Right.
And I'm not just calling out John Cena, but like in general, like the heel should be this guy's awful.
Yeah.
Like he's beating up the weak. He's beating up the people that you care about that had nothing to do with any of this. People anybody who gets in his way or anybody who just looks at him weird, he's beating that guy up, you know?
Yeah.
And Macho Man does it masterfully.
Page hits a diamond cutter, but there's no ref. So this, of course, gives Page he doesn't pin Savage here, but it gives him the belief, oh, okay, Savage was out. And then Scott Hall comes down to the ring, almost doesn't get Diamond Dallas Page up for the outsider's edge, but fucking hosses him up, hits the outsider's edge. And then Savage hits the flying elbow, and the referee counts a 3. So Randy Savage wins this match. Small point of contention. It's a no DQ. Falls count anywhere. They don't even do one fall or attempt to fall outside of the ring for this entire match. Savage pins him in the ring, which is the best place to pin him because everyone can see it. Why is that stipulation part of this match?
I think the only reason is to keep, because I actually like that as part of the match, because when it's not falls count anywhere and they're fucking fighting in the barbecue area, I know that there's no chance that this match is going to end right here and everybody's going to be fine and fighting in the ring at some point again. So there's believability that the match can end at any time when that stipulation is there. So I'm for it.
I'm for it too.
Like Frilly toothpicks.
I just want give me one pinfall attempt outside of the ring to make me buy it.
The problem is they fucked up all the referees. So
that's true. Yeah.
It was funny. Anytime the referee got hit, because there were a lot of ref bumps in this, the announcers were only concerned because the ref can't count a 3 count.
Right. He's not a human. No. You can't be concerned about it for that. He has a job to do. Oh, there was a funny part of this. After Page hits the diamond cutter, he does go for a pin, but Hall has entered the ring, and the ref is slow counting because he's still half dead from whatever happened to him, and Hall just straight up kicks him in the head.
Just stomps on the back of his head.
And all the announcers go, "Bah!"
Yeah.
Dear
and
God.
It was a real dear God.
It was a visceral.
He really did just fucking kick him in the back of the head.
And then to end the show, Tony Schiavone's like, "This is disgusting. It's terrible. Diamond Dallas Page is lost. Anyway, have a great summer, everyone." Like they're going away on hiatus, like it's Friends or whatever. Nitro's the next night. You hear Bobby Heenan yell, "Tune into Nitro tomorrow."
Because Heenan was like, "What the fuck is this guy doing? Yeah. We got to sell tickets tomorrow."
Have a nice summer. So next up, we've got Randy Savage and Scott Hall are going to team up to take on Diamond Dallas Page and a mystery partner. And so Randy Savage is having a match against La Parka, his hand-picked opponent, because Savage has no respect for La Parka, and they're talking about who can Diamond Dallas Page's partner be, and they're throwing out like Raven has arrived in WCW. Is Sting the mystery partner? Could it be Kurt Hennig? All these different guys. And while they're doing that, Scott Hall has come out to the ring with Randy Savage, and he's antagonizing Larry Zbyszko. And Zbyszko's talking shit on the NWO. He keeps calling them cowards, all this different stuff. And I think this is one of the coolest angles of all time. Savage beats up La Parka, body slams him, goes up top for the elbow. La Parka puts his feet up. Savage eats the feet and then gets spun around into a diamond cutter. And it's revealed that Diamond Dallas Page is under the La Parka mask. And Page gets the win. And the crowd goes insane. They go insane for the diamond cutter while he's under the mask, because they recognize, like, oh shit, all that legwork they've been doing getting the diamond cutter over. And like only one guy does it. And then when he takes the mask off, it's even a bigger pop, because again, it's like Page is smart. He has outsmarted the bad guys. And Scott Hall has a great moment where he's been antagonizing Zbyszko. He's like, you want a wrestling lesson, Zbyszko? Check this out. And he starts celebrating with his back turned because he hears the bell ring, and it must be the Macho Man has won, because La Parka cannot win this match. And he turns around and is Page, and then he has to try to run in the ring to get Diamond Dallas Page, and Page has already ran out into the crowd.
Yeah, it's totally like Scott Hall, coolest guy in the world. Every once in a while, Benny Hill music.
Yeah,
and it's fucking awesome.
Yeah, and it's the absurd confidence is really funny. And
yes.
I thought this angle was great. It begs a couple of questions: are Diamond Dallas Page and La Parka friends? And Diamond Dallas Page borrowed La Parka's outfit. Was La Parka letting his outfit air out on a clothesline, and Diamond Dallas Page grabbed it without La Parka's knowledge? I like to think that him and La Parka are friends, and he's like, I got a great idea.
La Parka's like, you know what? Fuck yeah, dude, let's get him. Is La Parka sitting somewhere in like Diamond Dallas Page's
yeah, he's in the pink Cadillac. And it'd be funnier if La Parka's the one that came up with the idea. He's like, hey Page, I know the NWO has been fucking with you. I'm never gonna get to wrestle them because, let's face it, I'm La Parka. But what if we make it to, and then it's kind of like I'm in the main event too, because my mask has made it to the main event. So
make me look good.
Yeah. So at Bash at the Beach, a match we did not watch, Diamond Dallas Page chooses Kurt Hennig as his partner. Kurt Hennig is returning to wrestling after or to wrestling in ring after being off for a couple of years from a back injury. Kurt Hennig, of course, has a miscommunication with Diamond Dallas Page, attacks Page, throws him in the ring, outsider's edge, elbow drop, and then Savage pins him with his foot on him for the win. This I do not like.
Yeah.
It makes Page look stupid again. He picked the wrong guy, and then he gets beat with, I guess the foot on the chest is good, like heat to continue the angle. But I think it just makes Page look bad, and you're doing so much correctly to make Page look good.
Yeah.
Like, he can lose. He lost a Great American Bash, but that makes them 1-1 essentially. Because I don't count the La Parka match as him beating the Macho Man. That's, La Parka.
No, he definitely gets points for it, though.
Yeah. It's points in his favor, but he's down 2 pinfalls now to 1 to Macho Man in these real matches. So the next night, in a great piece of continuity, La Parka's coming out for a match with another luchador. That's how you know it's real La Parka, because he's up against, I think this is Super Calo, possibly, or Damien 666. And Savage comes out because he doesn't give a shit either way. If La Parka's in on it, he's gonna kick the shit out of him. If La Parka's not in on it, he's gonna kick the shit out of him. It also might be Diamond Dallas Page. Who knows?
Yeah, you can't bullshit a bullshitter.
Right.
So he's like, I know that's Paige.
And of course, Paige has to be the knight in shining armor. He arrives to help Laparca, starts beating up Randy Savage. Kurt Hennig comes out, knocks Diamond Dallas Page out, and then Diamond Dallas Page eats more elbow drops off the top rope
Yeah.
from Randy Savage.
Knocks him out dead cold
Yeah.
with one punch. He does have, listen, all you got to do if you want to knock somebody out really bad is slightly protect your hand. Because he didn't have brass knuckles. He had like a little wrap of tape around his
Yeah,
finger.
they were like some sort of foreign object.
Yeah.
And WCW is famous because at one point their corporate heads were like, hey, we can't use the term foreign object anymore. You have to use the term international object. So if you hit somebody with something, it had to be an international object. Couldn't
That's
be.
even worse.
Right.
Because that means, no, we're talking about people here. Like
Yeah.
Because foreign means something other than just people.
Right.
You know what I mean?
No.
It's not from here, not normally here.
Right. Not something you would normally find. This is foreign.
Yeah.
No, it's an international object to soften.
That's something we're not familiar with. International object, it's like an immigrant. He hit him with an immigrant.
That has to be from somewhere. We're international. This object had to come from somewhere. So then
international incident, hasn't it?
At the Clash of Champions, the match we did not watch, Diamond Dallas Page and Lex Luger do team up to take on Scott Hall and Randy Savage. They make Randy Savage a honorary tag team champion to make this match a tag team title match. So Hall and Nash are the tag champions, but the tag belts are in an open relationship. If they want to bring in a third, the tag belts are up for it. So
polyamorous.
Yeah. Anybody, right. As long as all parties are into it, they could be the tag champion. Michael Buffer has a great announcement here for Page and Luger coming out. They're like, these men agreed that they've been bamboozled by their opponents and the many numbers that they use to defeat them, so they've decided to team up. And it's like, that's a lot of editorializing. Michael Buffer.
He's got some long sentences in this feud.
He just wants to, like, I appreciate the grandiose nature that he's trying to add to this, but sometimes it's very silly. So in this match, Lex Luger puts Scott Hall in the torture rack. Diamond Dallas Page accidentally gets blinded by some powder, and Diamond cuts Lex Luger on accident, and that causes them to lose the tag match.
Didn't we lose? We missed some powder in. There was powder in the
Great American Bash match.
Yeah, I wrote he hit him with a fentanyl bomb.
Well, they were like, it could be powder, it could be something else, it could be lye. Lye?
Lye? What was he fucking
Tyler Durden?
John Wayne Gacy?
Yeah, it's a Tyler Durden kiss on the hand with the lye for the finish. So yeah, AWO Savage, of course, wants to use powder because that's some old ass heel shit to throw powder in somebody's face. So again, Page doesn't eat the pinfall here, but his face is in the doo-doo. He accidentally diamond cutted his own partner, so that's no good.
You never want to
want to do that. Only want to diamond cut the right guy.
You never want to diamond cut your own partner.
Look,
I think Murtaugh did that one.
I think whenever you file for divorce in California, that's what irreconcilable differences means. They just shortened it.
There used to be a box for that until like 99. They stopped. They took the diamond cutter off.
Look, he's not very attentive. I've fallen out of love with him. I can't count the amount of times he's diamond cutted me on accident. He says they're accidents.
Sometimes I don't know who I'm cutting.
Yeah. Look, I'm out here cutting. Anybody can get cut.
I don't know. Anybody can get cut. Every once in a while, you got to cut somebody. You know. And he goes for a low five.
And then behind the back, He tries to hit.
Yeah.
He
Everybody try to.
he tries to low five the judge, and then he tries to behind the back the bailiff. It's I think the move right there.
Only the bailiff takes
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah. Bailiff knows.
Bailiff like pretends to drop his pen, and
Yeah.
as he's picking it up, he slaps his hand.
Look, man, you don't got to talk to me about who's getting cut.
Yeah.
We've all
Sometimes
been.
my wife asks to get
Yeah,
cut.
we've all been there. So then at Fall Brawl, Savage and Scott Hall again wrestle Lex Luger and Diamond Dallas Page. There's one I didn't want to put all these extra matches in because they're not very good. And it sort of dilutes the whole thing, but they're worth mentioning. I almost put this one in because there's a hilarious thing that happens because there's two rings because this is at War Games is going to happen. Also
making movies
on this card. Yeah, we're making movies, baby. But there's a gap, but a small gap between ring 1 and ring 2 where they don't meet like all the way. And the heels push Lex Luger into the hole between the two rings and like beat his ass up, and he's laying between. Anytime he tries to get up, he's laying between the two rings. They like push him down again. It's very funny. Like he's in 127 hours, he's fucking trapped like James Franco. He can't get up.
You can't do that to Lex Luger.
Disgrace to Luger.
That's probably what happened to him.
Yeah. He was thinking about that, turned his neck too fast. Paralyzed. And then Larry Zbyszko, this is more to continue the feud with Scott Hall. Larry Zbyszko comes out, distracts Hall, and then Luger rolls him up to get the win. So Savage and Page don't play into the finish here. That's why I didn't add it to the list of matches we both had to watch. I just watched it for fun because I was like, shit, is that the one where Lex Luger gets stuck between the rings?
And delightfully it was.
And delightfully turned out it was.
Yeah.
So the last match that we have here is Halloween Havoc 1997. Took place in Las Vegas, Nevada, of course. And then you want a tagline, possibly giving away who the victor of this match would be. Snap into the madness is the you kind of gave it away. Who's our guy?
Ooh, snap into it.
When you know who won the pony.
What if like Page got awarded the Slim Jim contract upon beating the Macho?
Oh,
Man.
that's what they're fighting for too. It's moved beyond you spray painted my wife, you son of a bitch, and it's like now there's endorsement deals on the line.
They should have went for Slim Jim would have been pissed. I was gonna say they should have went for like a competing jerky company to go after Page.
Yeah, well, the ones that
Slim Jims would have been pissed.
The ones that they used to sell, that the band used to always sell at my high school, the little yellow ones, that beef jerky company.
I don't know those.
Oh man, those are pretty good.
Hell yeah.
They sell them at gas stations. That's where I still get them at. Right.
I got one. I got a jerky the other day, and I was like, I feel like we shouldn't eat these. Like, I feel this is not something.
Look, have I consumed many a Slim Jim? I have. They are bad. They're bad for you. Regular beef jerky sticks aren't great for you, I don't think, like sodium wise. That's why they always put how much protein's in it, because there's like 13 grams of protein. But
yeah,
regular big jerky stick, pretty tasty.
Oh yeah,
I'm into it. So this match is what is called a sudden death match, which doesn't exist. I mean, it exists because it's in this, but it's like it's almost a Texas death match, but not quite. Where instead of pinfalls or submissions, it's can you answer a 10 count once you've been knocked down?
And I'm going to be real with you, Dusty. This match was not on your list of matches, so I did not watch this match.
No. I thought
the last couple of matches my face has been in the doo-doo.
No, the Fall Brawl one wasn't on the list. I just mentioned it because they did wrestle each other, but I didn't want to force you to watch terrible tag team matches.
Hell yeah.
So I was pretty sure I put Halloween Havoc on here. So anyway, we've seen
we watched it, right?
We've watched it before, yeah.
Yeah.
This is where Hulk Hogan comes out and he's dressed as Sting, but it's clearly Hulk Hogan. And he's wearing the boots. He's wearing his like Hulk Hogan
Yeah.
boots. And the announcers are like, "Who's this man? Could it be Sting? No, God damn it, no, that's not Sting."
Very
Uh,
clearly not Sting.
yeah, you missed where uh, Diamond Dallas Page hits Macho Man with a with a prop tombstone, and Dusty Rhodes goes, "He wobble legged him," because
He wobble legged.
uh,
Okay, I remember that. I remember the wobble
wobble
legged him.
legged him. Long story short, Diamond Dallas Page hits the Diamond Cutter, and as he's trying to get up outside of the ring to meet the 10 count, fake Hulk Hogan Sting comes out, hits him in the ribs with the baseball bat, and Randy
Not the
Savage
ribs.
gets up and wins. So if you're counting, Randy Savage wins this feud
Yeah.
pretty handedly. Uh, and I think this match is fine. It's not like incredible or anything, but it's okay. It's just the one complaint I have, and I know that we've talked about how great this feud was, and I think all the segments were really great. I think the first match at Spring Stampede should have ended in like a DQ or a schmoz or something. Or maybe Savage wins that one with interference help. And then Page like can even lose the Great American Bash match. And then in the final match, Page should go over and finally get the win in sudden death or some sort of stipulation, so that Page ends up winning the feud and ascending, because now Savage has beat him multiple times in a row.
Yeah.
And that's the one real complaint, is I think they, because it was such a heavy feud, they started with no DQ and didn't have anywhere to go as far as
And
match stipulation.
they were at a place, as we saw how the NWO evolved. Nobody went over those guys.
Yeah,
And it was, so you had no real opposition. So the best thing that you could do was absorb things into NWO. The only way to make anybody strong is to put a fucking black shirt on them, and it's stupid, and I hate it.
yeah.
But I agree with you. I think Paige should have went over in this, and that means that they told a good story, because this is bullshit, right? It's not real.
Right.
But you and I are like, fucking Paige, I wish you would have won that one. You know what I mean? Like, they told a good story here, and also I think you agree with me. I think Paige should have been a way bigger star than he was. Like in both organizations, like WCW gave him more of a shine when he was like in his prime. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the WWF or E, whatever they were when they got him, facing the doo-doo immediately. And like, Page had his run. Like Page, like I don't think, was he ever WWF champion?
Not WWF. He won the WCW title 3 times,
Hell yeah.
which is pretty good. But he won it in 99, and they were kind of on their way out in 99.
Yeah.
But in 98, he gets the big Dennis Rodman match. It's him and Carl Malone versus Hogan and Rodman in a pay-per-view main event. Like, he, right after this feud ends in December at Starrcade, he wins the US title from Kurt Hennig, and then has a pretty good run as US champion, having like really good matches with
See, they gave him, at least they respected him.
right. Well, and he did ascend. In the end, he does, like, this cements him as a main eventer and as like a top baby face and all of that. So it works. And it's like, so I guess there's whatever critique to have is kind of moot, because he does they did make a star out of him. I just think, like, in the end, Savage is really beating him, and it's been months since he's got to win. He won the first match. I don't know that the babyface should win the first match. I think you could screw the babyface over in the first match, and then the babyface wins the last match. But that's a WWF style formula. But I think that's also a good wrestling formula. Like, you build to the babyface winning in the end.
If the babyface is going to win the feud, because I mean,
Right.
the babyface doesn't have to win every feud, but like, in this particular one, especially since we know the context of all the rest of the fucking NWO feuds, like
Right.
they got to win one, and like Steve from the rafters wasn't going to show up enough,
Yeah.
and Luger was hot, but like Luger, I feel like Page was the guy, even more so than Luger
Yeah.
in WCW at this time, in terms of the guy who had the real power to be as cool as the NWO. Like the crowd loved. There's one of the matches. There's a whole group of guys in the front row. Well, a whole group. There's 3 guys in the front row. They're wearing shirts that are painted in W and O,
Yeah.
but they're cheering for Page the entire time against Savage.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's, he's an underneath guy who suddenly is coming up, and they give him cool stuff to do. Like I said, I think the strongest parts of this feud that we've watched, and I didn't send you everything because there's tons of beatdowns where they're beating down Page and then he fights back and all of this almost weekly, but
Yeah.
like I think the strongest part of this is the segments where, like you said, Page comes off as cool and he's competent and he can fight back and he's smart and all of these things, and then he loses the matches, so maybe the matches aren't as important, but Savage isn't going to gain anything beating Page. It doesn't hurt Savage to lose these matches. He's Randy Savage.
Especially if they're good close matches. Like he's not getting trounced. He's not showing his age very much. Like he doesn't move like he used to, but like he looks fine. It's not like these are, tear the house down matches, but he's going to be fine.
Yeah.
Page could have been a superstar.
Yeah. And to that point, the Spring Stampede match got 3 1/4 stars. The Great American Bash match got 3 3/4 stars, and the Halloween Havoc match got 3 1/4. So we're not talking about 5-star classics here, but they didn't have to be. There was so much emotion and there was so much build, and like people cared about the characters, and they were good. They were good matches. Like they were easy to watch. They were fun. You understood everybody's motivation. Dave also
there was true heat.
Yeah, Dave
Good
also
heat.
graded a lot harder back in these days. So
Yeah.
What happened in the Tokyo Dome? 5 stars.
You've been crying.
So yeah, I think this is the last great thing that Macho Man does. Like he's still around until the end of WCW, essentially. But this is the last great Macho Man feud. He even wins the belt. He's the guy who beats Sting after Sting wins the title from Hulk Hogan in that huge debacle. And then, hold on, let me check my notes. Loses the title to Hogan the next night. The very next night. The very next night. And Diamond Dallas Page, of course, continues to ascend, like we talked about. He becomes a huge main eventer. He turns heel in 1999 and wins the WCW title, which is still a cool moment. Like, he got to be the champ, but WCW is almost in a mess at this point, an unbearable mess.
Do they have Russo yet?
Now, no.
Or is that 2000?
This is Russo's late 99 into 2000.
Okay.
And so Macho Man also wins the title in 99 to, I believe, again, be defeated by Hulk Hogan the next night. I need to double. That's off the top of my head. I don't remember if that's exactly true.
I would love to just like get drunk with the Macho Man, like late in his career life when he's not worried about his wrestling career, and he trusts me enough to like be candid with me, and just hear him tell stories about Hulk Hogan and like what he thought about Hulk Hogan, the times he got screwed over by Hulk Hogan. If he loves Hulk Hogan, I don't know if he ended up like how he felt about the guy eventually, like, but either way, I feel like that would be so much fun.
Hogan says that they,
of course,
that they reconciled, but of course
he does.
And Savage never corroborated that. I mean, Savage wrote a rap beef about Hulk Hogan. Be a man, Hulk. And also, shouldn't doubt myself, I am in fact correct. Randy Savage wins the WCW title
the next night.
April 19th, 1998. April 20th, Hulk Hogan.
Hitler's birthday, celebrating. They, Hulk was like, yeah, we made up, and he just thanked me for everything I ever did for him. including making his entire career
Yeah.
and coming up with all of his best storylines, even when we weren't in the same organization.
Then, nearly a year later, July 11th, 1999, Randy Savage wins the title. Next night, Hulk Hogan. he ran in,
Oh man,
he ran into that buzzsaw, brother. I think it's something crazy like Randy Savage's combined WCW title reigns are like 32 days or something like that. He won the title 4 times. He was champ about a month in total. So rough look for the Macho Man. Savage was 45 here, and like you said, he's shown his age, but not a lot. Like, if he could have had one more great WWF feud, he could have had, it could have been this in 95 or 96 or 97. Savage could still go. And Page is 41. And so they're not that far apart from each other.
53 days.
Combined reigns.
4 reigns, 53 days.
Tough look for the Macho Man.
Oh, that sucks, dude. Fucking sucks. And his first one was over a month. His first one was 32 days.
Yeah.
Or 31 days. So yeah, the first one was 31 days. So we had 3 after that are combined 22 days.
Well, and so that means one of them's 20 days because he was the champ twice for one day.
31 days, 20 days, 1 day, and less than a day.
He deserved better. He deserved better.
Oh,
than
that sucks ass.
Page is 41. Both of these guys were well known for putting their matches together, which I think is another reason why this worked so well. They both liked to lay out everything they did beforehand and go out and do it.
Yeah.
And so, like you said, I think this is the best, or at least top 3 WCW feuds while the NWO is happening. Because I think Sting and Hogan is one, but Sting and Hogan is one off of the strength of all the time Sting didn't wrestle.
It's all the Where's Poochie time.
Right. It's most of the Steve in the Rafters time.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like 99% Steve in the Rafters time, 1% Steve wins the belt time.
And it's still pretty good. But like that, I mean, it's still great. It's a great angle. The ending is fucking unbelievable.
Yeah.
But it's still, and I love that we did that whole saga. Everybody, I hate to plug somebody else's podcast, but check out the Snark Marks podcast. They did a whole run of 1997 in wrestling, ending. We did Sting at the end, right?
Oh yeah, we did Starrcade. Was that 97. The end of it? Yeah,
that was the end of it. Because that's the end of the year, right? Yeah.
Well, one day we're going back because my rage cannot be contained.
We will go back to that.
It simmers constantly. When somebody's like, "What are you upset about right now?" Fucking Starrcade 97, man.
Fucking Starrcade 97, bro.
They did it to me again. I told Andrew that I had a little fun surprise at the end. Yep. Andrew, in 1997, for the one and only time in my life, I went to a WCW house show because they had one in Fresno. They never came to Fresno that I was aware of, ever.
That's amazing.
I went to this WCW house show. Would you care to know the card that I saw at this house show?
I would love to know the card that you saw at this. I am completely invested in what card you saw here.
Eddie Guerrero defeats Dean Malenko. Probably pretty good match.
I bet that one was pretty dope.
I bet that's pretty good. The Steiner brothers defeated NWO Japan, Masachono, and the Great Muta. I forgot I've seen the Great Muta.
Holy shit. Okay. Yeah.
Rey Mysterio Jr. defeats Buff Bagwell. Weird.
I can't believe you got to see the stuff, bro.
Weird matchup. But that's fine. Ric Flair defeated Syxx. As I recall, pretty decent match.
How many times have you seen Flair?
Twice. Because he was at the Royal Rumble one of the Royal Rumbles I went to.
That's sick. I've never seen Flair.
Check this out. Co-main
All
event:
right.
Diamond Dallas Page defeats Randy Savage.
Oh, you
I
saw him go.
saw it.
You saw him hook him up, bro.
I saw the horns get hooked up, and Diamond Dallas Page went into the crowd on my side. I mean, I was far away, but he was on. Yeah, he was there.
That's
I was
sick.
near him.
I'm guessing no diamond cutter that night.
No Diamond Cutter for sure.
Oh, for sure,
yeah,
diamond cutter.
yeah.
Okay.
Funny enough, my not entirely smart to wrestling brain was like, what if Sting shows up, dude? That'd be sick. And I was like,
Yeah.
Sting's not coming to this house show.
Not a house show.
No. Steve's not.
They don't even have rafters in the fucking cylinder arena.
Steve's not in the rafters. Steve also not on the pay-per-views, pretty much. Like,
yeah.
Sting's
he shows up to every once in a while on Nitro when it's near his house.
Sting's a Monday night only guy. And then in the main event for the tag team titles, the Outsiders defeated Lex Luger and the Giant by disqualification.
Dude, that's a crazy card.
I remember this because they Dusty finished it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they gave us the title switch, and then it ended up being a disqualification finish. So it was like, because in WCW it was against the rules to throw a guy over the top rope, right? But only when it was convenient to Dusty finish.
Yeah, they only call it. Yeah.
So Hall.
So who came out? Bischoff come out.
Hall gets thrown over the top rope by the Giant, while Luger puts Nash in the torture rack, I believe is how it happened. And everybody's like, he gave up, new tag team champs, and the bell's ringing. And then the announcer goes, the winners by disqualification, the Outsiders. Boo! And then I think they probably gave a choke slam out or did something. Because, like, you can't send the people home on the...
Yeah, you got to hit something.
Yeah, on the heel Dusty finish. Like, we saw when we went and saw NXT and Austin Aries got hurt. Somebody had to get their face in the doo-doo to make up for it. And I think, who was it? Samoa Joe beat up somebody.
I remember from that show, I remember singing Bobby Roode's. No, I remember chanting Asuka's gonna kill you.
Yeah.
And singing Shinsuke's thing.
Yeah.
And Austin Aries getting kicked in his face. And I don't remember another thing about that whole show.
But yeah, man, this was like, I don't remember. This is a hell of a card.
That's a wild card. That would be like, that's a better card, like, in terms of legends, obviously. That's a better card than the WrestleMania that we went to.
Yeah.
We went to both nights.
Me and 5,113 other people saw that at the Celland Arena. So
that's pretty rad.
And I also remember this because I had tried out for baseball, I think. Well, I know I tried out for baseball, but I think it was like Colt League or something. It was something where you had to pay. You had to pay some amount of money to join this, to like try out for this league, right? And I don't even really play baseball at this point, so I don't know why I'm trying out for this other than my friends doing it. So I'm like, okay. So I go to the tryout. I am proud to say, or not embarrassed to say, I'm not an athletic person in this way. I'm not a super coordinated person. I had not played baseball a ton in a competitive space. So I make it through the tryout. I even get some hits on the pitching part of the tryout. But my the lady they called my mom and they were like, hey, we're worried that if he plays, he's going to get hurt because like they're throwing for whatever this age is, they're throwing heat. And I just don't think that that's going to work out. And my mom was like, okay. And she's like, are you okay if you don't do this? They're going to give us a refund of the money so we can buy WCW house show tickets. And I was like, what are you even asking me for, dude?
Am I okay?
Yeah. If I knew the house show was on the table, I would have never went on this baseball thing.
Rey Mysterio versus Buff Bagwell, or play baseball all summer?
Yeah, I got to go out in the heat, or I could see Eddie Guerrero and Dean Malenko put on a 5-star classic in front of 5,000 people. I think I'm doing fine. So, awesome. But yeah, I got to see WCW the one time in like what is probably the best possible scenario. So,
that's great.
Closing thoughts on the feud. Do you have anything? again, we talked about it. I just think this is a really great template to use to show how you can get anybody over. They featured Page on TV. They put his finish over strong. They put him against a legend. He didn't constantly have his face in the doo-doo. Like,
I'm glad we watched this because I'm glad to see WCW do something like that I give a thumbs up to.
right.
You know, because like a lot of what they did in '97 and beyond, like a lot of the NWO stuff just got absolutely it turned into puke, and it was awful, and like I hated it. And this reminds me that there's a reason that they got so big, because this wasn't like the NWO, the '97 WCW is not some phenomenon where the world started loving something that was obviously ass the entire time. It's like there was some good stuff, some compelling stuff, some fun stuff here. The crowds were all in these shows. The crowds were full, and they were yelling, and they were enjoying themselves, and they were cheering for the right people and booing the right people, and the wrestlers did a great job. And like in one match, we had Diamond Dallas Page versus Randy Savage with Dusty Rhodes, and multiple matches with Dusty Rhodes and Bobby Heenan on the mic with Tony Schiavone, who's awesome too. And then you got Mark Curtis. You got like a bunch of people who I love.
Yeah.
You know, so truly there were moments in WCW in that era that did capture that gold and that magic that professional wrestling was in the 90s in certain times. You know, same thing for the Attitude Era. The Attitude Era had a lot of garbage, with some of the best wrestling that's ever been put on television.
Yeah.
You know, so like, yeah, I'm glad we watched this. I'm glad this is the first foray back into WCW before we watch things that make me want to break my TV with my cat. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and there's plenty to be had in that arena. So,
oh man, yeah, 100%. Rest in peace, Steve McMichael.
Yes, we stand a legend. Steve Mongo.
We stand a kind of legend. I heard you were good at football.
If you combine the football and the wrestling, then we've got a legend. Who's doing the heavy lifting there? I will leave up to you. But all right, so next week we're back to the 101 matches list. Give me a number, Andrew.
Let's go 17.
Number 17. Ooh, that's a good one. Ric Flair versus Sting from Clash of the Champions 1.
Sweet. Have we seen this?
You've never seen this. This is from 1988.
Hell yeah.
So
I'm in.
Yeah, and I can give you all the backstory. It's fun wrestling promoter bullshit behind this. So, and it's a great match. So that'll be a lot of fun. Thank you everybody who joined us. We appreciate it. Like Andrew said, follow us on YouTube, follow us on your podcast apps. And if I dare, I ask you, snap into this.
Hey, hit us up if there's something you want us to cover. I love you. Bye.